Hi, Joyce Stech here, your inner treasure activator, and welcome to the Joyce Stech podcast. Let's talk beyond the surface. And today we're going to talk about the wrong law and how we actually wind up betraying ourselves without even knowing that we are. So, interested? Stay tuned. Hi, Joyce Stech here, your inner treasure activator. Welcome to the Joyce Stech podcast. Let's talk beyond the surface. And today we really are kind of diving in. But before we do, I just want to say this. I missed you guys. I really missed you, okay? This episode came in strong. It came in strong for me internally. It came in really deep, very honest that I'm sharing it. But, don't worry. We're not going to lose the fun, okay? So, but it's little things. So this is one of those things like, hey, maybe you won't even get what I'm saying in the beginning, but if you sit with it, just say, I wonder about that, right? Because you know me, I can't talk about soul stuff with just a little bit of sparkle and a laugh somewhere in there, right? So grab your tea, coffee, whatever your thing is, your crystal, let's talk about what happens when we actually stop performing for others and start remembering who we really are. For today's, we're talking about an invisible contract that actually not yourself, we're not talking individually here as much as humanity actually signed into without reading the fine print. Watch what you sign, guys, read the fine print, right? It says, perform to be loved, work to be worthy, stay quiet to stay safe. Now, I'm not saying that, because I work all the time and I believe that is a way to be worthy, right? So I'm like, wait a minute. What are we talking about? It's not that. It's a program here that if a lot of these things can be used when they're not used appropriately, what they do is they become power plays. They're ways to control you. Stay quiet. You have to be quiet. But if I believe, if I open my mouth and say my truth, I'm going to be persecuted. That is suppression, right? But if I underneath have a wiring that says, you better stay quiet to stay safe, because if you open your mouth, you're going to say something. If I speak my opinion, if I live my truth, it's not safe to be me. That's something completely different. It's like working to be worthy. If internally you go because it does when you complete a project, right? When you have a task and you complete the task, don't you feel really great when you finish it? I mean, it's like there's something about that. There's internally worthy when you work because it feels good. But when someone puts out this wiring that says, if you're not working, you're not worthy, I can have you enslaved forever. You get the difference of when they're power plays and when they're actually used to go in a good place and appropriately. Perform to be loved. All that is conditional love. But you get it? Perform to be loved, you don't love. So if I have to perform for you to love me, screw it. You don't freaking love me. This is all on condition. Right? And a spoiler alert, your soul never agreed to any of that. Your soul, your original contract when you came in and who you are 100% never freaking agreed to that. So let's talk about what happens when you stop living by this wrong law, by this wiring, this imprint that's in you, and you start remembering the real one, the law of the living soul. Your soul living as it needs to live. And how do you know you're living under the wrong law when you can't even nap without guilt? You can't even take a nap without guilt, because if I take some time out for myself, I should be actually doing something. I should be cleaning the floors. I should be taking a thing. I should be doing what this person told me to do. You can't even freaking rest without guilt. I know from my own experience. I was in hospital. It was like the only way that I could not work, right? Instead of going I need a vacation, this was in my past, I would get, the only way that was justified is if I was really, really, really sick in a hospital with tubes coming out of my ass, because then it was okay and I could actually rest. And until I figured that out, it was like, wow, this is probably not the way I want to go. Like I couldn't even take an hour off without feeling guilty. See, when your peace depends on everyone else being okay with your choices, that's another one. But if you're someone who says, I can't do anything, like I made this choice and I'm going to go with it, and you can't even voice it and say, like, I'm doing this. Well, why are you doing that? Because this is what I want to do. That's how this wrong law sometimes comes out. Because your soul tells you to do something, but someone else is going to tell you that they know better than you about you. You know, when you say yes to what drains you, you know, things that drain you, like if I do that one more time, I want to shoot myself, right? And you don't, why don't you say no? Because saying no feels like betrayal. And in our heads, it's really interesting because we think we're going to betray the people because they're depending on me. And if I don't drive that person, who's going to drive them? And then it's my fault. And wow, you bought into something else. Because I'm going to tell you what, you are feeling betrayal. You're betraying yourself because you cannot say, that's going to drain me and it's going to kill me. And I cannot do that. Otherwise, I will not be here any longer and my own health will suffer. And you think there's something wrong with you saying, I cannot do that. That's going to drain my system and it's not healthy for me. You see, the wrong law runs on 3 channels: performance, approval, and survival. It convinces you that proving yourself will keep you safe. But really, it just keeps you small. It says perform to be loved, work to be worthy, stay quiet to be safe. And when I was going through this, I found this one for women. And this one kind of was sneaky in there. And as I was doing this, I said, hey, Joyce, do you realize that for a woman to have worth, she has to be wanted by a man? As if without being chosen or claimed, she's somehow less than, left to survive on her own, carrying this quiet fear that maybe she won't make it because everyone through history, through this, I'm not saying like, hey, have I fought this my whole life? You know it. But when I looked in there, I saw this freaking wiring in there. And I'll get to that. But it's an old belief. It's inherited. And honestly, it's exhausting. And it's time that we stop renewing that freaking contract, in my opinion. Women have always been what? Chattel. We've been traded. We've been used to in a hierarchy to like, oh, we need to be in a better family. So you're marrying this dude, whether you want to or not. We're there because we're supposed to make dinner. We're supposed to do this. We're supposed to do what every man tells us to do. Otherwise, we're not worthy. You're worth less. And if you're not claimed and nobody wants you, what happens to you? Think about history and what they think of a spinster. Nobody wants her. Nobody wants her. Nobody wants her, or no man has claimed her. Therefore, she is less than. That is a belief system that even when you go, I don't fall into that crap because that'll be me, the wiring is there. So when I saw that line, like that line just came to me. I'm sitting there and things go, think about this, Joyce, right? And I kind of laughed because I said, well, screw that. That's not me. I've never believed that. But you know, when I look deeper, I sit with a lot of stuff. And when I looked really deeper, because I believe in going beyond the surface, I found it. I found where that little piece was. The one that I have been fighting with my entire lifetime. And it was not in my head. It was in my wiring. It was an energetic wiring. And then it lived in that flinch when a man pulled away, and you could say in your head, like, that doesn't matter, but there was something else that bothered you. In the ache of wanting to be chosen. Even when you didn't need to be chosen. Even you didn't want to be, but you're like, it would be nice to be wanted. What? By you know what I mean? It's not rational. It's the ache of wanting to be chosen, even when you didn't need to be. It's in the way, I wore my strength like armor, proving that I could survive without being claimed. Don't claim me. I don't care. But now I have this armor on instead of just being me. And I had to go through life proving that I could survive without being claimed. And when I tried to release it, so I sat with this, I said, I saw it. I saw the wiring. I know how to decode. I know how to recode. I know how to get rid of imprints. I mean, that's something I do. That's my job, right? And so I said, well, I see it. I don't like it. My God, it's been like ruling underneath all this time, even though I can be overcoming it. You're not overcoming something that's running all the time. It's like you're overcoming the leak that's underneath your house. You don't overcome the water or the creek underneath your house. The creek is there, okay? But it was interesting because what I felt when I was really honest with myself, when I'm sharing with you now, I actually felt fear. Fear about releasing it. And that's when I knew that this wasn't just an idea. This wasn't just even in the way, it was an imprint. It was an imprint that runs in all these energetics imprinted. And not only for me, but for humanity. And somewhere in my body, I still believed that being wanted meant being safe. And I went through it, and I went through my life, and I went through different places. I said, holy shit. Wow. Wow. Being wanted, not even someone take you, but being wanted meant I'm safe because somebody still wants me. Like, wow. It does not go around with anything of my belief systems, but underneath in that wiring, when everything else was taken off, it was like this little voice underneath. I said, whoa. And it's not only for me that I looked more. No, this has been running throughout history. And the real truth of all this is that the soul, my soul, your soul, our souls, doesn't need to be claimed. My soul doesn't need to be claimed. It's already chosen. It's chosen by creation itself. I've got my own blueprint. You know, my belief is, hey, my creator and I decided this together, and this is who I am. This is what I do, and this is how I do it. And it's mine, and it's my decision. It's how I work. It's how I roll. And you've got one too, and it's how you roll. And the moment that you can remember that, that old law starts to dissolve. It starts to dissolve. It is dissolving. And that's the rewrite, my friends. Not convincing yourself you're enough, but letting your cells remember, letting your chromosomes, microsomes, everything to the cellular level, remember that you were never anything less. And you have everything you need. And you do not need to be claimed. Maybe you need to reclaim yourself. You see, we're not meant to perform life. We're meant to embody life. And every time you live by someone else's rule book, you lose a little piece of your original code, the one that knows peace by heart. And look, we've all been trained to do it. From childhood, what? We're rewarded for dimming our truth, for being nice, for fitting in, fit in, be like everybody else, for staying in line. But that isn't discipline, it's disconnection. And there's a fine line between those two. What discipline really is, what knowing and being respectful of others really is, that's important. But not being able to speak my mind, to be who I am, for anyone to understand why I do the things I do, oh no, that's something else. That's disconnection. It's the body learning to betray itself just to belong. To belong to what? I see kids that came to me and they're freaking geniuses. And they go like, yeah, but I don't belong. My kid doesn't belong. Your kid is in the 1% of the world. And then you go like, and I would have these kids and I'd say, well, I don't belong. Do you want to belong to the sheep? And that's the masses. You are not that. And sometimes I would say to them, I said, I know right now it's tough when you're in school and you're there, but I want you to look around your class and look at all those kids that are maybe dumping on you and bullying you and everything else. Every single one of them are going to be working for you in the future. So put that in your bonnet, because you are the one, the trendsetter. You are the one that is going to change the world. You're the one that actually thinks outside the box. That's where changes happen. This is where new creations come from. So who do you want to belong to? Don't betray yourself because others don't understand you. Trust me, there are people out there that do. Just find them because you belong to yourself and you belong to this world. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And so no wonder, if we go through this, no wonder the nervous system is freaking fried because we're constantly trying to reconcile divine truth with human programming. And I'm telling you, the math just doesn't add up. So what's the alternative? I call it the law of the living soul, which says I exist. I exist. Therefore, I am worthy. I breathe. Therefore, I already belong. I belong to everything else that breathes. And I love. And therefore, I am whole because I'm capable of loving. This isn't self-help, by the way. This is remembering what's freaking real. And living by that law means peace becomes your proof instead of pain. Your value isn't negotiable. And truth, not approval, truth becomes your compass. Is this true for me? Well, then I'm going forward. I don't need approval from other people to know what's right for me. My compass is me, knowing me, who I am, what I do, how I do it, because that is me. It's on my blueprint. This is Joyce. This is you when you're listening. And I don't need approval to be me from other people. Other people are not my compass. My truth is my compass. And when you live that way, the body finally, stops shouting because it's being heard. And breathe. Variscite came in for me, which is a very rare type energy. And it is an activation that, because Variscite, Royal Gem Variscite is something that truth replaces obligation. Truth replaces obligation. So let's seal this today with a little energy medicine. All right, so the Royal Gem we're using is guiding us is Royal Gem Variscite, the stone of very gentle truth. It softens the nervous system. It opens the heart's intelligence. So if you want, just close your eyes and breathe. And let your shoulders drop. And I want you to see a cool green light, very nice green light that's cool and soothing, spreading across your entire chest area. It's calm, it's clear, and it's alive. Great. And say quietly to yourself, I no longer perform to be loved. I no longer perform to be loved. I no longer perform to be loved. And breathe. I no longer carry what was never mine. I no longer carry what was never mine. I carry only what is mine. I carry only what is mine. I carry only what is mine. And my peace is my permission. My peace is my permission. I am loved because I am. I am loved because I am. I am loved because I am. And breathe that in. Royal Gem Variscite doesn't push. It harmonizes. And it teaches that honesty and softness can coexist. That right action doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be true. And breathe. Wow. I thank you for joining me today for Let's Talk Beyond the Surface. And the world doesn't need more people following the wrong law. It needs more souls living by the true one. And guys, if you're interested in finding out more about me, Everything I mentioned, podcasts, courses, activations, ways to get in touch with me are all on my website at joycestech.com, JoyceStech. Or you can go to Linktree. For you guys who love Linktree, go to Linktree, linktr.ee/JoyceStech, JoyceStech. And until next time, my friends, may your truth be your permission slip. And always remember, as I say, it's great to be me, it's great to be you. So every morning, wake up, look in the mirror and say, it's great to be me, it's great to be me, it's freaking great to be me.